Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Schwertner, you and I have had discussions before when this bill first came up here in the Senate.
Yes.
And at that time, there were three options for our sheriffs to choose from in terms of the 287G program. Are those three options, could you rename them again?
Yes, Senator. The 287G program currently has a jail enforcement model, a warrant service model, and a task force model. Those are the three models under the 287G program.
And did they stay in Senate Bill 8, or were they taken out or modified?
The Senate Bill 8 allows for the sheriff that is mandated to participate in the 287G program to choose which of the model that county will participate in.
And as you well know, and I mentioned this before, in my Senate district, I have some rural counties and two large counties, Hidalgo County, Nueces County. In Hidalgo and Nueces, both sheriffs have a standing order where any person who is arrested and processed who is in this country illegally, they're automatically detained. There's a detainer on them. So they're held for Border Patrol or immigration authorities. How would that make their practice change under this bill?
The sheriff, in this case Hidalgo, has a robust program from what you're describing. This would be an enhancement of that. And also money would flow to Hidalgo County from the state of Texas to assist in the official 287G program. I do not know whether or not Hidalgo is participatory in the 287G program currently, or whether or not they just have ICE presence in their county law enforcement areas because of the proximity to the Mexico border.
I don't think that they're a part of the 287G program, but they do have pretty much the same practice of holding anyone that's in this country illegally or undocumented with a detainer, which they are not really provided with a bond. But then I have rural counties. Well, in Hidalgo, the jails are overcrowded. Same thing in Nueces County. In Hidalgo, we now have signed, $15 million contract to lease facilities up in Raymondville, Willacy County, to be able to house some of the prisoners. We have three problems. One is the one that we have our jails with local prisoners that are jailed waiting for trial. Number two, we have an issue with TDCJ and the blue warrants. They're not executed right away, take a long time to process. And now we have this issue with detainers, which immigration can respond very quickly or wait until they're ready to come and pick up the immigrant. So I don't know yet what impact, whether it be negative, more than likely negative in terms of prison population, but it is a real challenge because now in the Rio Grande Valley, there's constant crossover from Mexico into the U.S. into Mexico, and I like to call it U.S. Tex-Mex because we are a very different territory. And illegal aliens are not criminals. They're not labeled criminal. I understand those that commit a crime. Hey, arrest them, prosecute them to the full extent of the law. But many of these people have been here for ages, 10, 15 years, and they are not documented. They have raised families. If they get stopped by DPS, let's say, or a local police officer under the system that we now have in place with Senate Bill 8, would they be liable to get arrested and turned over to immigration authorities?
The program identifies certain officers as participatory in the 287G program, and again, whether it's jail or task force or warrant service model, it does not mandate specific actions on the part of officers in a traffic stop, for instance.
So the officer will still have discretion at that point whether or not, okay, this person doesn't have any outstanding warrants, this person doesn't have any criminal record, that they could just give that person a speeding ticket or whatever traffic citation they have and let that person go.
Again, it doesn't mandate certain activities on the part of an officer to arrest an individual.
Okay. And the other issue is with some of my rural counties, Brooks County, for example, we have a Border Patrol checkpoint there. And they have a very small jail. And quite frankly, the federal government does not prosecute many of the criminal cases where they are under 100 pounds of marijuana. Somebody's trying to cross over and transport drugs like marijuana, and they have a threshold. So those people are passed over to the state to prosecute. But in the meantime, they have to stay in jail there in Brooks County where there's no room. Okay? So under your bill now, there used to be a threshold for counties. Now all counties have to be part of the 287G program. Is that correct?
That is all counties. Again, there's 200, and I think I said
254 counties, I think.
234 counties that have jails or contract with jails that would have to participate in a mandatory fashion in the 287G program. That said, the sheriff of that county gets to choose which of the models or which of the combination of models they choose to participate at the local level based upon their unique needs and circumstances for that county.
Well, I'm just, I guess my concerns really focus more on some of my rural counties. I know my larger counties, both in Oasis and...
I think the positive of this bill regarding rural law enforcement is 80,000 is the lowest tier for not compensation, but for grants for smallest counties. And if you have a county with maybe 3, 4, 5 deputies, very small county, that's almost, that is really another law enforcement official that is state supported from a financial standpoint. So I think the rural counties, the smallest of the rural counties in particular, will be benefited from this by having increased overall law enforcement in the entire county.
Well, and I'll follow up on a question by Senator Eckhart, and that is, as you well know, in Congress right now, they're negotiating the federal budget. And as I understand, on the House side, Texas, the Congressional House of Representatives, they have at least, I think, $10–11 billion to reimburse Texas, to reimburse us for state funds that we spend on border security. And I would assume that if those funds pass, besides making up some of the money, some of the funds that were spent by taxpayers here in Texas will be used to help our local law enforcement, like our sheriffs, be able to cope with legislation such as Senate Bill 8 and the rapid increase in enforcement by the federal government.
I would certainly hope that we do get reimbursed for some of the expenses of Operation Lone Star and border operations, that $10 or $11 billion that you mentioned. That I'd be a strong proponent of making sure that counties and law enforcement agencies, local law enforcement agencies that have been affected over the years, get properly reimbursed and compensated as well for their costs that they incurred that were not reimbursed by either the federal government or the state government. So I agree with you completely on that.
Well, I'm somewhat conflicted with your bill, Senate Bill 8, quite frankly, because I do believe that we as a nation have to define a border, defend a border, and protect our border. I always said in history, those that do not do that, any country that doesn't do that and defend and protect and define its border will cease to be a nation. And I know border security has been an issue. I know we have an issue with immigrants coming from all over the world across the border, and I'm like to be more focused on having a better, robust immigration system, which we don't have. Because every time we try to deal with those issues, it's politicized. Instead of trying to deal with public policy, trying to deal with just factual information, it's politicized by both parties. And I'm being very disappointed in that. Because part of the reason that we have this situation where people have just come over from all over the world is because the Congress, federal government, both Democrats and Republicans, have failed to address this issue in a rational, logical way to be able to have control and management of our border. But thank you very much for answering my questions.
Recognizing your service to our country, I greatly appreciate your last comments.